Alright, I'm going to show you how to do an Animorph in Photoshop, which is basically merging or blending two animals together. And in this case, I'm just taking the head off of one, and I'm using an elephant, and I'm going to put it on a moth's body. First of all, let's select the entire image by hitting Control A, or you can go to Select All. That's what Control A does. Copy with Control C, paste with Control V, and now we've got both images on the same page, and let's grab the Move tool and move it around. So right now we can't really see the moth in the background, so I'm just guessing where to put the head, but if I drop the opacity down, it will make it see-through, so I can see where I want to put the head. And I notice that my elephant head is too big for the body right now, and I need to scale it down using these little boxes. Hold Shift while you scale to maintain proportions, otherwise you might end up with a squished elephant. If you do not have those boxes to scale down, you have to show transform controls. This is the tool options bar, by the way. So show transform controls, scale it to about the right size, move it around, and once I am happy with the size, I need to hit enter to tell Photoshop, yes, I want to make that change. Alright, so next up we need to add a layer mask by clicking this little rectangle with a circle inside it. So there's my mask, and when it's white, anything white on the mask will show or reveal that entire layer. Anything black on the mask will hide that layer, and then all the levels of gray will partially hide or partially show the layer. So let's grab a paintbrush, and I'm going to make it black, so let's just swap those two. And I want 80% hardness, just because I like a slightly soft edge, but not too soft. I'm just going to paint black. Notice that my layer mask is selected, and I'm painting black, and you can see that the layer mask is getting these black paintbrush strokes. Let's increase my brush size so I don't spend too much time on the outer edges. I just use the bracket keys to increase the size. Right bracket makes the brush bigger, left bracket makes the brush smaller. And then I'm going to zoom in with Control Plus, and then if I hold the space bar, I can move around when I am zoomed in. This is really convenient for when I'm doing detail work like this. Zoom in with Control Plus, hold the space bar to navigate around, and I'm just going to paint around the edge of the elephant's head and ears. Okay, so you might be thinking, especially if you are the kind of person that taught yourself how to use Photoshop, why don't I just use the eraser and erase what I don't want? And mostly because the eraser, so let's grab the eraser and click on our layer. So I'm going in and I'm trying to erase this little tiny part. If I accidentally erase too much, I can undo, but a lot of times you'll erase too much but not realize it until later, and by then you can't undo anymore, and once you've erased those pixels, they are gone forever. But with a brush and a mask, if I go too far and then I don't notice it, and then I come back later, I'm like, oh, I went too far on this part, I can just swap using the X key on the keyboard to white. So that's why I use black and white, so I can quickly swap with X. And when I paint white, it reveals that part of the mask, and no harm done. Once you get the hang of masks, you will never go back to the eraser tool. Let me tell you another trick. On this trunk, there are a lot of straight parts, so let me move over to a more straight part. And I can save time by clicking once, and then holding Shift and clicking again, and it will paint a straight line between those 2 points. Alright, so I've finished masking now, and you'll notice that the head is not really the same color as the moth, so it doesn't look quite as believable. And let me focus right here on the layers palette. You'll notice that I have the mask selected right now, so when I paint, I'm actually painting on the mask. If I had selected this layer and I painted, you'd see that it's actually painting black on that layer instead of on the mask. So you need to pay attention to that, which you're selected. Because right now we want to select the layer itself and go to Image Adjustments Color Balance, because we want to work on the color. And this window pops up, and basically I want it to be more yellow. I want the elephant head to be a lot yellower, and so I just drag this over until it looks about the right color, and then I don't think I really need to add any greens or reds or blues, so I'm going to click OK. And now it looks pretty good, but the contrast doesn't really look the same. The elephant's head looks really flat, the moth looks like it has a lot of depth, So I want to go to Image Adjustments, Levels this time. And this pop-up, it looks a lot different. It's not as straightforward, but we're going to focus on the input levels. The left slider for the input levels will darken the darks, and the right slider will lighten the lights. And so by dragging both of those in, we get some nice contrast, and then the middle one will either darken or lighten the rest of the thing. And so you can slide those around as you see fit, and once you're done you can click OK, and there we have our elephant.